and then turn those knuckles over and then squeeze those rear delts at the back. So we've covered the middle delt, the front delt. There's still this rear delt here that helps really cap off the physique and really acts as a major stabilizing factor through a lot of the other movements we've already looked at. This is one that people often struggle to connect with. I'm going to show you a couple of handy little hints that should hopefully help you through, but understand this. The first few times you start working rear delts, if you've never connected with them before, it's going to take a little bit of time to develop that connection because you're not used to feeling it. So it's going to be a little on-off, it's going to be a little bit hit and miss, but stick with it. As long as you know you're doing the motions correctly, you're not forcing or jerking them, it will eventually connect. And one rep, one time, will eventually just click and you'll be like, I got you, bitch. One of the easiest things to train rear delts on is going to be cables and a rope. Now, I'm going to use this one so I'm not getting in anybody's way in the middle of the gym because I'm an asshole. But it's also probably not far off where I'd have it. I might have this pulley a little touch lower just above my forehead. The trick here is to think you're doing a double rear bicep. So you're doing this motion. What a lot of people tend to do is they tend to pull through here. If you look here, look, you can see my traps are squeezing. So we want to take those out. So again, we're going to relax that neck. And what we're going to look to do is pull through towards the forehead and then turn those knuckles over and then squeeze those rear delts at the back. Again, you don't need a ton of weight for this. I see a ton of people, they're lifting heavy weight, they're following through and they're swinging back and they're saying, I can't hit my rear delts. Well, no, of course you can't. You're just swinging weights about. Lift it, don't shift it. So. Too heavy. This is quite a heavy stack, so I'm only going to need 2 plates. What we're going to look to do, we're going to look to hold just above the mushroom tip. Now from here, remember, what I'm looking to do is roll those knuckles over at the back. Postural wise, look what I'm doing. I'm not pulling through like this. I'm not pulling through like this. This is working my back. I want to keep my elbows high, but I also don't just want to be pulling through from the elbows because that's going to engage the traps. What I want to do is roll those knuckles through just above the ears, kind of the temples, and you can see those rear delts working now, that bear claw muscle. Then as I release, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can release the scapula, but if you do that, you need to re-engage them before you then pull through. I'd recommend when you're just starting to just leave the scapula where they are and just try and focus on that metabolic overload, that volume style, and really learn to see where your position is, where that bite point is. For me, it's right here. So here what you'll see is the difference. The difference here is if I'm up here and high and rolling those knuckles over, you can literally see I'm bending that rope a little bit at the top to make that happen. If I don't do this, if I just pull through and drop my elbows, like I said before, you can see my lats engage and it comes completely off the shoulder. Disengaging the lats, re-engaging the lats. So we want to keep it off that back and off the traps. So my neck's nice and loose, head's nice and neutral. And I'm literally focusing on keeping it on those rear delts the whole time. I don't really lift too heavy on this. If I do lift heavier, I'm just looking for a load which brings my rep range down, but I maintain the same strict form. So unlike the other motions, I don't tend to ever use any momentum to whip it up. It's such a small part of the shoulder overall, but such a hard muscle to target that I feel that if you hit this with just a volume metabolic overload, but then maybe every so often hit those lower rep ranges of 6 to 8 by increasing the weight but not losing any form still, not using any elastic potential, that's the way of moderating that kind of volume and heavy load, but you're not actually going to really get too much differentiation in load from volume to heavy. Just something that brings that rep range down. You can also mess with tempos on this, squeeze points at the top, really focusing on creating that mind to muscle, slow negatives, not letting that trap come in on the eccentric. And pretty much that's how I like to work the rear delts. So once we've done that, we've hit the middle, the front and the rear. This should all be done at least once a week. Personally, I train everything twice a week, so that's high frequency. So everything will be hit twice, but different exercises used each time they are hit. Make sense? Good, because I've had enough of talking about shoulders.